Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where 2.5 dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-related media content, including but not limited to books, TV shows, movies, and video games, to help you other dragon fans find the next universe you want to lose yourself in. I am your host, Ray, and as always, with me here is Bantam.
Hey, what's up?
And Dilatan.
Do not disturb me, my pillow fort.
Yeah. Dilatan's fucking attendance is slowly climbing back up into the green levels.
Yay!
That's good. Yeah.
That's good. It means he's allowed to have a pillow fort. Every time he misses, we take a pillow away. And every time he joins, he gets a pillow.
No, every time he misses, I just I take Ray in my hand and I just chuck him at the pillow fort, and it's like that game where you have to knock out pieces and see if the fort will still hold.
Play Jenga with his pillow fort?
Yeah.
Y'all are mean. Can't you just leave a dragon in peace in his lair of softness?
Me just cupping Ray in my hand, like aiming for one of the bottom pillows and going, okay.
Yeah,
Ray.
you're assuming I'm small in hand size.
I would make you small and hand sized.
You're always small and hand sized.
No, not always. I'm like a future card buddy fight character. Which is a superior Digimon for you people who haven't seen the show.
Superior Digimon.
No,
the idea being there's a big form and a small form, and I have both.
I watched Future Card Buddy Fight and I watched Digimon growing up as a kid. I'm very sorry, Dilatan, but I'm 100% on Ray's side. Future Card Buddy Fight was a better version of Digimon.
Nothing beats Season 3 of Digimon.
Okay, Season 3 was amazing.
Exactly.
But that's because they had cards in Season 3.
No, they had Guilmon in Season 3. That's what fucking made it amazing.
All right, so Dragon news, because I'm very excited.
Hold on. Before that, I have to know just really fast, like 2 minutes, Dilatan's opinion on Season 4, where the kids turned into the Digimon.
Okay, I've never watched that because just hearing that concept alone sounds batshit crazy.
Yeah, they have their Digivice, and they have like 2 Digimon partners that they never Digivolve. They're just there for to be the guides to the kids in the digital world, but they never take part in any fights. When the kids run into bad Digimon, they activate the Digivice and they don't Digivolve. They Digi something. It's not Digifuse. I don't remember, but they do their little cinematic, that stock cinematic that they use every episode, and they turn it into the Digimon. It's actually pretty cool.
I'll take your word for it.
I will just say that I never liked Digimon because I hated the fact that they put Digi in front of fucking everything. And I hated that every single animal ended in Mon. Like, that was dumb.
I mean, I enjoy naming
So what, you hate my name?
Dilatan?
That's literally what I do!
Dillamon.
I put Dilla in front and Tan at the end of everything.
That's different. That's a portmanteau. That's fine. That's because you change it. Sometimes it's Dilla something or something. Sometimes it's something Tan. That's fine. But Mon just doesn't sound good when you staple it onto everything.
No, the fact that it's everything and that there's at least 100, it makes it okay. It was weird at the beginning, but it got okay because it was just the methodology they wanted to go with.
Yeah. Future Card Buddy Fight was better, though.
I want to fight you after the episode.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to have to make Dilatan watch Future Card Buddy Fight, and then we're going to make Bantam watch Digimon, and then we can all have a valid opinion on it.
I've seen Digimon.
I grew up watching that.
Did you see Season 3 of Digimon?
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure he saw 15% of Season 1, and that was it.
Well, because
that's the worst season.
that was around the same time that Pokemon, and then the truly best version of that
Monster Rancher.
No, well, Monster Rancher was good, but
Metabots?
No, Metabots. Yeah. I was a Metabots person because I liked robots.
Zatch Bell was interesting, but that's a different story entirely. Yeah, Season 1 of Digimon has the most nostalgia, but it was definitely the worst production value. Holy shit!
Oh yeah,
it was cheesy and corny as fuck. Season 2 was there. It existed. It was a thing. I have not seen Season 5 plus yet.
There was also that show Dragon Drive with Chibi, the little white dragon.
I've never seen an episode. I've only read a couple issues of the manga because I got it in my Shonen Jump when I was younger.
It was dark as shit. I watched the cartoon.
We'll have to cover that eventually.
Yeah. Chibi was adorable, though.
All right. Okay, so yes. Digimon tangent over.
Digimon tangent over.
So, we'll just quickly announce this episode we are reviewing Highfire by, I can't pronounce his name, Eoin? Okay. It's spelled Eoin. Eoin? Somebody tell me how to pronounce it.
Ian?
But whatever. Highfire by Eoin Colfer.
I've seen a lot of Ians in my time.
Well, he says that the narrator says it.
That's how it's spelled, and I can't remember how he pronounces it.
Yeah.
But yes. The guy who wrote Artemis Fowl, apparently. But that's what we're reviewing.
Okay, that's going to make sense for my Dragon News then.
But before we get into that, Dragon News.
All right, Dylan.
Go ahead, Bantam, since you're like bouncing in your seat to tell your Dragon
Okay,
News.
so first of all, this book did something right. The author has official artwork for what Vern looks like, because I was really curious. And yes, I want to see exactly what is being described in the book. However, when I was searching for what Vern looked like, it kept pulling up pictures of Nicolas Cage, and I didn't know why. And I found out it's because this show got greenlit for an Amazon TV series. And Nicolas Cage is going to play the dragon.
I'm very upset by this.
Nicolas Cage is playing Vern.
Yeah,
it's Nicolas Cage. This can't end well.
It's Nicolas Cage. He's going to be playing the voice for Vern. But yeah, they're making it got greenlit, and it was in production as of June or July of last year. So yeah, there will be a Highfire TV series on Amazon.
I mean, we'll see. There have been a couple of concepts that have been canceled. Wings of Fire cartoon series was canceled. Apparently, Temeraire was supposed to get a movie, but it was like it died in limbo. So fingers crossed, this will happen. Don't get your hopes too high up, I guess.
Yeah,
but just keep an eye out for it.
We'll be able to do a part 2 episode where we compare how they butchered the book.
Yeah, I hope it goes past the book too. Considering no spoilers, but considering how the book ended, there's definitely more that I want to see.
I just can't imagine Nicolas Cage wanting to fuck an alligator.
Well, he didn't want to. That's whatever. We'll get into that later. It's a good thing I marked this show as explicit on the app stores.
In other Dragon News, a game that I'm probably going to butcher the name of, Wilderless. It is a walking hiking sim on Steam. Got a recent update where you can ride wild dragons. So actual Dragon News. For Dragon News.
Actual Dragon News. We'll have to see how in-depth is the wrong word, but how in-depth the dragon nuance
actually, are you talking about in-depth of the animation? Fuck
no,
yeah.
like, is it like you just whistle, dragon pops up, ride it, and it's just a method of transportation, or is there like raising, carrying, taming mechanics?
Nothing like that as far... I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that you can interact with the wildlife. How you get to the flying aspect, not sure. But it exists.
I charge you with scouting it out.
All right.
I scout books, you can scout games.
You know what?
Scout movies.
Yeah, because you can watch bad movies and not die.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to double check that Nicolas Cage was actually playing Vern. It says, this genre-bending live-action series Highfire is a gritty crime thriller with doses of magical realism. Its central character, Highfire, parentheses Cage, is a vodka-drinking, flash-dance-loving dragon who lives in an isolated existence in the bayous of Louisiana.
The fact that they call it a crime thriller makes me wonder if they're going to completely butcher the story.
Well, they're probably going to...
Vern is a detective.
Well, because you got to look at the way... See, you don't watch a lot of TV shows. I do.
No, I don't.
The thing is the book focused mostly around Squibb and Vern, where Hook kind of came in every once in a while as the antagonist, whereas the TV show is probably going to spend hours and hours of content on what Hook is doing in the background while boring bullshit.
Because they can save on CGI.
Because they can save on CGI, and while boring bullshit is happening, because we'll get into it with the review, but yeah, most of what Squibb does in this book is boring bullshit, and that's not going to make for good TV, so they're going to focus on Hook a lot.
You never read A Southern Story, have you? Because there's really nothing to do down here, speaking from experience.
You can whittle.
You can whittle and try to survive another day without getting turned into alligator food.
I do that every day. Not that exciting.
I want to see what you whittle.
No one will see what I whittle.
But yeah. Any other Dragon News? Those are both very good Dragon Newses.
Yay, I got a gold star, but that's the only ones I got.
I should have a little chart behind my computer where I can put gold stars on people's names. Alright, so then to our next segment, In Other Worlds. I'm still proud of that name, but people may not get the joke. But in other worlds, what have you been up to?
I have been trying to organize multiplayer games on the podcast Discord. Right now, I am in the process of editing Stardew Valley to have an unlimited amount of players. So we can have
as much as I love Stardew Valley, I can't see that working with more than 4 players. There's not enough to do, and the game is already too easy to break.
I mean, well, then we agree not to break it, and then if we...
All right, guys, no star fruit, no ancient fruit, no blueberries, no strawberries.
Okay, those take... well, blueberries ain't that broken.
The blueberries and strawberries are broken because they give you too much money for how much effort it takes to grow them, and the fact that they grow once and then continue to refill their leaves or whatever you want to explain how it works. The farm is nothing but blueberries and you have infinite money. Good job.
Nah, we won't play it like that. I mean, with all the people making money, we won't even need to worry about the fucking exploits. But if we do suddenly get money, I'll just revert to save. Easy.
I'm nuking you guys' farms. We're too rich. But yeah, I've been on a nostalgia trip. I've gotten some emulators so I can play some of the old games that I own, but I don't want to either dig out the old consoles, bother setting them up, or just the console doesn't work anymore, whatever.
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah, I know. I just got into Cold Step Saga again, which is it's a Magic the Gathering meets Monopoly. I was playing some old Samurai Warriors 1, the first one, Dynasty Warriors 5, which is one I like the best. I got it back into Dissidia from the PSP as well as Patapon.
Patapon.
Just all the old games. They're all coming back.
Fucking love Patapon. And I have been fishing.
Fuck you, fishing.
I love fishing. I've been fishing in Final Fantasy XIV, and it is soothing and relaxing.
Fishing is dumb.
X'd it out.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's whatever.
We've argued this back and forth. And
I literally like to their credit, I literally have no way to defend my love of fishing. I really don't.
It's a time sink, and the game it's too RNG related. It's like, imagine if you were gonna go and gather plants for some other crafting class, and you're like, well, I need to make sure I gather these 7 mushrooms before I'm even allowed to pick this apple. But while I'm busy gathering the mushrooms, like, oops, nope, got a potato instead. That sucks.
I will try to keep this as short as possible, but compare. So the reason I like it is because for any of you who have played like Stardew Valley, when you go fishing, you walk up to the water, click fish, and then a fish will bite, and then you adjust like a meter to keep it in the thing, and then you get a random fish. That's it.
I also hate it in
no,
because of the random fish. I just want to point that out.
I this isn't against you. This is just a comparison. That's fishing in most games. In World of Warcraft, you walk up to a water's edge, throw your bobber into a little pool of very specific fish, and you can get that very specific fish. Boring to me. Ray likes that one because you know what you're getting, and that's fair. In Final Fantasy, fishing is an actual job in the game. You cast out your line, you have like hundreds of different bait, you have weather conditions, you have timing conditions. Some of the fish require a strong pull or a light pull. Some fish require mooching, which is you catch a fish and then cast the line back out with that fish still attached as the new bait. Some of them are triple mooches. And it's like each big fish and each fishing spot are their own little challenge. And I love it, even though some of these break my soul. If anybody out there listening has ever done Final Fantasy fishing, they'll know what Charabanais and Sea Butterfly and Stethecanthus have destroyed their brains.
Yep. Those who know, those who don't.
Yeah.
I did it backwards, but yeah.
The Mr. Incredible meme on Sea Butterfly and Charabanais and Stethecanthus.
Yeah. So let's get on to actually giving our spoiler-free review of the book now.
Yes.
Highfire by Mr. Colfer. I'm never going to say his first name again.
Yeah, I definitely need to hear from Diletan on this first.
Well, to give a brief synopsis, it takes place in Louisiana. There's a kid that ends up witnessing a crime, and then... Hold on. Is the crime actually important to him? Oh, yeah, while he's witnessing the crime, he's about to get destroyed by the guy who he witnessed. But then he gets interrupted by the dragon, who saves him inadvertently, and then a couple of discussions later, he ends up becoming like the servant of the dragon, and then we kind of just deal with that for most of the book.
Yeah.
The dragon is supposedly the last one in the world, and he is extremely southern. And so I guess we will do like a very small, not really a content warning, but like if you can only listen to audiobooks because of like how much free time you have, and the southern accent bothers you, I'm sorry, you're not going to like this.
You are not going to like this.
It is everywhere, and it is thick.
Yeah, it's like
no, it's not as thick as you can imagine. This is like medium.
No, it's
I mean, the fact that he lives there, maybe he knows, but to me, it feels thick.
No, it's thick. It's thick. Sorry to attend, but I've read books where there are southern characters, and the thing is that you're thinking of the joking levels, the parody levels of southern thickness. It's like people don't talk the way you're imagining this not being that thick, you know.
Yes, they do.
Let me tell you, person who lives in the South, how the South actually works, because we know better than you.
I mean, I'm surrounded by these people.
I lived in Georgia for almost 2 years, and I lived in Florida for 4 years. So
okay, but you lived in big cities where it's not going to be.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
I've lived in this country town for 29 years. I know what I'm talking about. Uh-huh. Sit down in the corner, sir. Trust me, they talk like this. They sound like this, and I've heard it worse. Well, my own cousin's worse. He's got like the thickest southern draw. You can barely understand what he's saying. Like this is mid-level southern at most.
All right,
I've spoken.
I have spoken.
Yes, Dilettante is going to be the what's the term? The authority on
the
on
authority
this topic.
on southern. Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's actually pretty close to home.
Did the narrator do a good job on the accent? You who lived
absolutely.
amongst it?
Yeah. I also agree that the narrator did a damn fucking good job with voices. His voices sounded distinct, and I could differentiate them.
So would you say overall that this was a quality product?
This is actually this audiobook is in my like top 3 now, alongside Vankir. I fucking loved it. And this is high praise coming from the guy who hates audiobooks.
Yeah.
You gotta try hard to get on my list.
Yeah. The guy that hates books actually really liked this one, so that's 6 stars out of 5 right there. So how do you feel about like the author's writing style, like his pacing, how fast scenes move along, word choice, that kind of stuff? Because I know Bantam complains when people make up words all the time.
Word choice.
This isn't a fantasy book, so you can't really make up words, but you can still pull stuff
trust
out
me,
of
in the South you can make up words. We do it all the fucking time. But word choice, as far as like the comedy goes, I fucking loved every second of it. I laughed every time, but even if it's like the more raunchy stuff.
Like this, if you laugh every time.
Too bad. I'm so damn tired. I'm drawing a blank about what I fucking laughed at.
So
I'll never be able to give examples. I should have like written some down, but I would never be able to pull Southern colloquialisms out of my head like that.
Yeah,
I didn't even pull that. It wasn't even colloquial, whatever that fucking word is.
Colloquial.
Yes, that's
the thing is that this book does take place in the modern day. Like this book could have taken place like a week ago.
Kids they have smartphones.
They have smartphones.
One of Vern's complaints is that everyone over 6 has a smartphone. So yeah, definitely modern day.
He very kind of humorously that changes throughout the book. Because the very first time it's mentioned, and I did leave a note for this, the very first time it's mentioned, he says every fucking teenager has a goddamn smartphone. And then later, it's anyone over 6 years old just magically manifests a smartphone in their hand. And then it's after you're born, you're given a smartphone.
They're getting earlier.
They're getting earlier. So this movie could have taken place yesterday.
Book. You said movie.
Book. This book could have taken place yesterday. And so, but they didn't make up any words. I do have a minor complaint on how every sentence needed a descriptive qualifier on it. It wasn't just, he stepped in the mud. It was, he stepped in the mud, which was like a glue trap on a Sunday afternoon, with blah, blah, blah. And it's like, come on.
I mean, but that's how they talk.
That is how we talk.
But when it's done with every fucking sentence,
But that's how they talk.
It felt like padding. It felt
Trust
like this.
me, that's what we do.
It was so obnoxious.
We've had our lives out. What can I say?
I guess
there's nothing else to do. They got to talk longer.
There really is nothing else to do down here.
So yeah.
All right. So next bullet point. It's believability / verisimilitude / realism. Did anything make you stop and go like that doesn't make sense, or that wouldn't happen that way, or that's dumb?
Only the very end when the A-team arrives. Other than that, everything seemed pretty down to earth.
Yeah,
even the part going into the earth.
I was gonna say that actually 100%. I actually 100% agree with Dilettante. Everything seemed 10 out of 10 realistic until the fucking comic book villain, fucking Cobra Commander.
If it's the end, be vague. Yeah.
Cobra Commander and his it was by the very end of the book it became Saturday morning cartoon levels of bullshit.
G.I. Joe?
Yeah, G.I. Joe. But the beginning, the everything before that was highly realistic, and I really liked it. They did a really good job of describing how the biology of Vern works, which I liked. And yeah, I mean, it's good shit.
I do have one nitpick though. Alligator snapping turtles do not grow that big or eat people's faces.
He's like the shell's as big as like a car or something. What was the script?
He said it was the size of a small car. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it was described from Squib's point of view, and with the amount of stress he was under, maybe it seemed bigger in his head.
They can get to be about 1,000 pounds. They can be about 1,000 pounds. They can
whatever, not important.
It is to me. I've seen it. I drove by an alligator snapping turtle. That little fucker was just chilling in a ditch.
Well, then you saw a baby.
Then I see babies all the time. We have like so many fucking snapping turtles around here. I gotta walk over them, just get in my truck.
Do they snap at you?
No, they just like open their mouths and just look really angry at me.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. The 1,000 pounds is their bite force. The biggest one ever recorded was only 211 pounds. So yeah.
Yeah. See, you can't do that.
Yeah, so they shouldn't get that big then. The only thing I didn't like about the book, as far as like believability or whatever goes, is Vern is many, many thousands of years old and has lived all over the place, including like Europe and stuff. And he's only lived in Louisiana for like 50 years, but he shouldn't have that deep of a southern accent. Yeah,
yeah, he really shouldn't.
He should have been like proper British amongst all these southern hicks kind of deal. Or something like that.
There's actually a video. I'm going to see if I can find it and show you later on where a linguistic expert can actually trace like the Southern Hick accent to their European ancestry.
Well, so yeah, I mean, the whole Cajun thing is loosely based off of the French anyway, so yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, with him exposed to all the media he consumed over like 50 years living in exile, drinking alcohol, I mean, you would develop some sort of...
Maybe. I just feel like being thousands of years old, it would take longer than 50 years to overwrite your accent.
No, that's just how infectious the South is. The South is so infectious that you only need to be there for a few years and that you get the accent.
Yeah, he just loves our culture.
What culture?
But yeah, for a book where everybody talks Southern, only one character's Southern accent actually bothered me, and it was Hook's little delivery driver guy there.
Oh, the one
the one who was the classic character of a dumbass redneck. What you talking about? Just ugh.
Sounds like it belongs in Borderlands, honestly.
Yeah, he did. This is where the boats live. Get you one.
Next bullet point. Dream fulfillment is what I have it tagged as. But basically, like, was this dragony enough? Did it really like scratch? I know you two don't really have as much of an itch as I do, but like, did it scratch the dragon character? itch?
So I will answer for Ray because I guarantee you that this is how you felt. Probably not, because he was basically a human in a dragon suit. There were a couple parts in the book where it described certain things that we're obviously not. But for the most part, even going by his official artwork, he is anthropomorphic. He doesn't primarily walk on all fours. He walks on his hind legs, and he does have hands that are also his wings. And I mean, he wears a t-shirt, a Flashdance t-shirt.
Oh yeah, he is actually literally a wyvern.
He is, yeah, he's a wyvern. It's wyvern, not wyvern. You fool.
Do you think we pronounce everything right down here? We just say it and move on.
But yeah, this book definitely to me was human in a dragon suit, but done the right way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, the suit part's literally integral to the plot. We'll get into there yet. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is, because he's supposedly the last one that exists in the world, I was okay with him acting very human-like. It's situations where the dragons are like very numerous and they have like their own like nation, or maybe they don't coalesce into a nation because they continue to live separately in caves and whatnot. But like when there's enough of them that they could be called a peoples, then it's a little weird when they just act like humans in dragon suits.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they should have their own behavior. But when he's like the last one who has to live amongst and hide from humans, I can see him getting a lot of human mannerisms, especially if he's watching TV all day.
Yeah. It's so for those interested in reading this book, just picture this. Picture a wyvern living in a rundown shack in the middle of a swamp, far, far away from the nearest part human being. But he has cable TV, and he has a fridge, and he has a lazy boy. And he spends most of his time watching reality TV and old-ass 80s movies. There's several points in this book where he references movies. Like at one point he references Blade Runner, and the main character, Boy Squibb, goes, "Was that a Blade Runner reference?" And he goes, "I thought you were too young for that." And he goes, "No, I've seen all the classics." So this is a dragon who is like, because I guess his life is so boring, and
he actually drops the most pop culture references out of any character in the book.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, literally, like, at one point toward the end of the book, and this is not a spoiler, Squibb is like, "I'll make sure to get you lots more Flashdance t-shirts." It's like, that's his thing. He's like a Charlie Brown character. Like, his outfit never changes. He only ever just wears the shirt, and it's a Flashdance shirt.
All right, so pretty much everything we want to touch on before we get into the spoiler-filled part, right?
The only complaint, the only major complaint I have about this book, like if I were to take this entire book by pieces, characters, whatever, the only complaint I had was the villain was so fucking evil, like just unjustifiably cruel and evil, that it just seemed over the top. Like,
I mean, with his backstory, there's no way it could be over the top. I think he was just made to be Saturday morning.
Saturday morning evil cartoon villain. Yeah. Like,
keep going.
Like even in the beginning of the book, so the bad guy's name is Regent's Hook, which is both an
Constable Regent's
Hook, which is both an infuriating and really awesome name. Because there's even one point in the book where he's like, my name's Regent, so why shouldn't I be royalty? You know, and it's like, and then he apparently like signs his text messages with a hook emoji. And then he calls it, at one point he says, "Well, I'm kind of like a captain, Captain Hook." And it's like, shut the fuck up. But I absolutely hated him, and when I was looking at the official art for the characters and I saw Regent's Hook's portrait, I was like, oh my god, yeah, he's the dude from Avatar. He's the dude from the bad guy from Avatar. He's got white buzz cut hair, and
he is retired military in the book. So yeah,
he's got full body armor. You know, he's just a fucking dick, and I hated him.
Yeah, Dillaton, any final thoughts before I ask for your rating?
Trying to think, not coming up with anything. Okay. I got one segment, but I think it's like post-spoiler, so I'm good.
Okay. My final thought before rating, on the topic of Regent's Hook, I didn't like him. You're supposed to hate him, right? So good job making a hateable villain. So but like, I didn't like him to the point where I feel like he grossly overstayed his welcome. Like, we'll get into it in the spoiler section, but like, I feel like he should have been like an Act 1 villain rather than a whole book villain.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's my complaint is like it's so unsatisfying, and it made me very like upset at certain points because of the things that he got away with. It's like he can't keep getting away with this. He can't. But yeah, all right. So Bantam not 0 X out of 5 stars, and then would he live here?
I mean, okay, this is going to be a little difficult because I love the concept of Vern. If he would allow me to, I would be Vern's friend. I love Vern. I think he's
human familiars.
I love Vern as a character, but living here, quote unquote, here is the same thing as Lazy Scales. It's just our world just moved to a different location. I would not want to live there because it is the deep swampy South. And like one of the things I mentioned right before we started recording was that the entire time I was listening to the audiobook, I felt dirty because they are so.
That's how you're supposed to feel.
They're
so job right.
They're so descriptive about how gross and smelly and horrible the fucking swamp is at all times. So no, I wouldn't want to live there. But I, like if you just moved locations, like if dragons like Vern existed in real life, yeah, I would live there. But in the setting of this book, fuck no. But I will give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Till a 10?
5 out of 5, and I already do live here.
I guess, do you want to stay or do you want to leave?
Oh, God.
I went on a hike like 2 weeks ago, and I swear to God, the mosquitoes had a goddamn feast on me. It's awful.
So when I went to go visit Dilettante in Florida, he was like, "We're gonna go hiking." I'm like, "Cool."
We didn't get 10 minutes into the trail.
It had rained for like 3 days straight before we went hiking, and so we get there, and the entire hiking trail is a lake. You can see like maybe 8 inches of the guardrails of the fucking hiking path sticking up out of the water. And,
oh no, that was a fishing spot. That wasn't the actual hiking trail.
But that's where it started because we
it started towards the right. When we were looking at the submerged bench and shit, that's where you go to like do a little fishing on the pond, the little river nearby.
All right, well, whatever.
To the right of that, there was a trail.
Okay. So we no, because I thought we went to the right of the trail when you were like, let's go backwards and see how far we can get, because it was a loop. Because most hiking trails down south are a loop. But yeah. At any rate, so we go the other way, and we get maybe like 10 minutes walk in, and it is clouds of mosquitoes.
Literal clouds.
Fucking clouds of mosquitoes. And it was just the entire time you're just power walking while swinging your arms in every fucking direction, and you're still getting bit. And he was like, all right. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, Florida won that day.
It was fucking horrible.
But you know what? With all its flaws, I'd still live here. Because there's no other place where I can drive down the street and see an alligator sunning in the damn ditch.
And you know what? Mm-hmm. And you know what? I would rather live there than here because there's so many snakes in Florida.
Oh, someone crossing the road yesterday.
Yeah. Why did the snake cross the road?
If I can get to the water, I don't know. Snakes do what snakes do.
Instant punchline here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually give it, 4.5 out of 5. Like, I don't want to give it 5 out of 5 because it wasn't perfect. Like I said, I didn't like how long Constable hung on for and whatnot, but it was very well written and it's a very good read. And if you're going to have a story of the last dragon on Earth, like it was pretty decent for that kind of concept. As far as would I live there, I don't know. Like, I love the idea of living in someplace warm, humid, tropical, but I don't want to live in a red state.
It's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
Once your eyes adjust to the hue, it's fine.
But I guess I guess also would I live here? Quotation point marks, like meaning like would you want to be in Vince's position, the last dragon on Earth, in this kind of setting? Probably. I mean, it being modern day, I could get a whole lot of money off of OnlyFans being the only dragon. Yeah. But the fact that he admits that he could be felled by a decent armor-piercing round means that I wouldn't, be very careful about how you reveal yourself because you could just get offed by all the rednecks.
Well, he could easily do it.
So I feel free to cut this if this is a spoiler, but toward the end of the book, he does get shot at, and at one point a 50 cal round hits him straight in the chest, but as they said, it pancaked on his scales. It did not penetrate, but the force of the bullet did knock him back. It really depends on where you're shot at. I mean, obviously, the wing membrane, bullets went right through it.
I guess if I'm not going to be an all-powerful dragon who is literally nuclear weapon-proof, right? Like, I guess his state of being is the next best thing. So yeah, you know what? I would be okay being the quote only dragon in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, because
it's strong enough. I'd be able to bully people around, I guess.
Oh no! I'm wrong. It was a shotgun slug that hit him in the chest and knocked him back.
Oh, okay.
The 50 cal bullet was shot, and it hit him in the head, and it peeled back a scale and ricocheted off the skull. So he's still quote unquote immune to bullets. Like, it didn't penetrate, or even it just ricocheted off his skull, but it still damaged the scale. So a 50 cal round could probably do a little bit of damage, but I mean, he's still relatively bulletproof by most civilian weapons.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna, for the record, I'm gonna say that's not a spoiler because you usually assume the main character lives to the end.
Yeah,
I think very few books kill one of the POV characters off at any point.
And there is that philosophy that the author D.M. Gilmore told us about, where you beat up on your main character a lot. Depending on your point of view, the main character could either be Squib or Vern, or
Hook. They actually share the POV.
Yeah, and it's like, they certainly fucking tortured the shit out of the characters.
Yeah, they did. All right, so ready to go into our spoiler break?
Play your music.
I gotta play the music at normal speed this time.
Yeah, Ray took my advice for the last episode and played it at 200% speed.
It was actually 300%, but yeah.
Oh.
And welcome back to the Bayou of the 2.5 Dragons.
2.5 bayous?
2.5 bayous.
Why do I only get half a bayou?
All right. If we were all going to be swamp or bayou flavored dragon hybrids, Dilettan's the gator dragon, I'll be a snake dragon, Bantam can be a turtle.
No, I'd be probably a crane or a stork, because they actually describe that there's cranes.
No, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to be anything bird related.
Nah, he's a flamingo.
I'm a flamingo. Flamingo dragon.
Okay, I'll allow flamingo dragon.
Yes.
I don't like Bantam always picking bird, but I'll allow flamingo.
Flamingos aren't birds. They're weird little water sticks that move.
Are they as evil as geese?
No.
I don't know. I've only seen them in zoos, and they just look weird.
No, they are absolutely not as evil as geese.
No, geese and swan are they're a whole other league of evil.
I've seen a bunch of videos by this one YouTuber who puts called Man and Beast series, and there was one video where it was all tropical stuff, and there was lots of clips of flamingos. Flamingos are weird because they find humans interesting, and if you're sitting on the beach and there's a huge flock of flamingos, they'll gather around you and stare at you, and to the point where people can kind of sort of touch them and pet them. But yeah, they just basically are just what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? and then they all move as this little group. It's weird.
Yeah, all southern animals are weird.
All right, so now let's get to in-depth spoiler bits. What we liked and didn't like, our thoughts on certain scenes.
Oh,
I know what Ray didn't like.
Regent's Hook?
No, Vern's internal balls.
Okay, no. So they were both internal and external because at many times he mentions that he can retract them.
Yeah, it's mentioned at one point when he's laid up and has been unconscious for a couple days that because he relaxed his muscles were forcibly relaxed, his balls came out. Meaning that it's kind of like a slightly involuntary muscle contraction that keeps them inside to protect them. But but by his own description, if he relaxes, they come out, which probably means the default state is them out.
Yeah, I imagine because I'm going to get into biology talk here. The whole point of balls on mammals is because sperm dies at certain temperature ranges, and so you gotta have it be able to either drop away from the body or pull close to the body to kind of regulate temperature. So I imagine in Vern's case, it wants to be out.
Yeah, Vern
he's an armored beast, and so biology's like, no, you can pull them in if you need to get into a scrape.
Yeah, he describes that. So they do something unique that I haven't seen any other dragon media do yet. I mean, granted, we haven't seen everything, but we're on the quest to do that. But this is the first time I've ever heard of this unique biology tick about dragons, is that they have an internal core, a molten core. And if that is pierced, the dragon will explode like a thermonuke.
I've seen it similar in a couple other things, but it's not their core. It's usually their like fire gland.
Yeah, but
this is the first time it's been like their very being.
Yeah, their very being. Basically, it's not their heart, I don't think, but it's essentially there's some part of their body where if a bullet were to pierce it, they explode. And he mentions that he did know a dragon at one point where a ballista managed to pierce it or something like that, or a cannon round or something, and he exploded, taking out like a square mile of like a castle or something. So that was unique, and I appreciated that unique flavor, that little dash of whatever. But he is very much a as he says, has a molten core, very hot-blooded, because he mentions that, you know, he's been tempted at many times to court with a female alligator, but they're cold-blooded and he's got a molten core, so it wouldn't work out. And I'm like, no, that would work out. That's perfect. Like,
keep them warm.
keep them warm. But sorry, I kind of did interrupt. So did you finish the part that you hated?
No, I wasn't really doing it. He guessed mine and then I just commented on it. You didn't really interrupt anything for once.
For once.
But yeah, I guess to finish my earlier thought with just Regent sticking around way too fucking long, it's like he really... I would have loved if he just died on the boat when the grenade got knocked back and blew that up. That would have been amazing, but that's taking him out like the first like 20% of the book.
Yeah.
But just like... basically, he overstayed his welcome once he killed Wickman.
Yeah.
It's like from that point on, it's like I really don't care about Regents at this point. It's like he should have been Act 1 villain. Act 2 should have been like
Ivory.
Oh no, mostly Ivory, because Ivory's investigating what happened to his pipeline people down here. Or sure enough, Vern gets spotted, and now we have to deal with FBI, CIA, tourists, whatever. Like I feel like this would have been better.
Yeah,
not with Regents Hook for the whole thing.
Yeah, Regents Hook was like he started off as a realistic character. Regents Hook murders one of the drug runners because the drug runner accidentally killed his boss's son and
nephew.
So Regents Hook works for a crime lord, basically Sicilian mafia, named Ivory, and Ivory's nephew gets killed by one of Hook's runners. You know, a guy who runs the boat and drives across the bayou with the drugs to deliver them. So he murders him with a knife in the middle of the swamp. And, of course, the main character, Squib, witnesses this and records it on his phone. And, you know, being a dumbass fucking stupid kid, the moment he sees it, he goes, "Oh my God," like out loud.
No, it says Jesus, like Jesus H. Christ, when the sniping turtle just explodes out of the water and eats the face off.
Whatever. Point being is that he doesn't keep his fucking mouth shut. So now Regents knows that someone recorded him. So Regents gets on his boat, and of course he's ex-military, so he's got all sorts of toys. He's got a fucking M1.
All flavors of corrupt cop.
Yeah, he's got a fucking grenade launcher, like the old, you know, tube rocket. And he starts shooting grenades and trying to kill. He doesn't know that it's Squib at this moment, but and it's like at that point he was still a realistic character. But because of the explosions, Vern comes out, and at one point a grenade is whistling through the air, and Vern just smacks it back directly at Hook, and Hook dives off the boat just in time to save his life. And then he gets
why are we going scene by scene, play by play? Like what's the point?
Because he was still realistic at this point, but then after that he just went like Cobra Commander levels of fucking silly evil bullshit. like toward the end of the book, he, as Dilettante said, the A-team, he fucking gets ex-military like super soldiers fucking to create like this little evil squad of hitmen to go after Vern, and it was like none of that was fucking realistic. I'm sorry, but if a shotgun slug can pancake on a dragon scales, a fucking beefy woman with metal gloves is not going to do shit to him.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the brawling scene. That felt bad to me, but that's just because I like dragons being physically superior, and so just getting beat up by an ex-military, whatever, just didn't feel good.
And
that whole ending scene was goddamn levels of ridiculous.
First of all, the action was really hard to follow because you had Squib, Vern, you had the guy he referred to as Green Day because he was wearing a Green Day shirt, and then Squib's mom. So you had the 4 on the good guy side. Then you had the 4 bad guys. So it really did feel like a fucking, Marvel bullshit. And then every single one of these characters are doing something. So it was just jumping over and over as people got picked off. And the thing that really pissed me off was like that it was like the bad guy ends up getting a shed skin from Vern off of Squib. So he's now dressed in essentially dragon skin. He picks up the gloves from the dead chick. He's got shotguns and pistols, and it's like he's becoming...
It felt like this isn't my final form moment.
Yeah, it felt like
as much as you could have that grounded in reality.
Yeah, and it just seems silly as fuck.
Like he was a little too tenacious for like your average human, honestly.
Yeah. And it seemed a little unrealistic that the moment that this corrupt evil bastard, the moment he finds out dragons are real, his first thought is it was actually realistic when he was like, I can't wait to kill him. Because the unrealistic part was he's like, yeah, we're going to get him injected with drugs and turn him into a lapdog for the mob. And it's like, what? No? Like, how do you figure that's going to work?
I mean, that happens with some things. You get somebody addicted to like cocaine and then they won't run away or betray you because they need the fix.
But this is a dragon. He can literally just like kill for the cocaine easily.
I know this is jumping to the end of the book, but when Regent's Hook is telling Ivory, hey, I have this guy that you're going to want on your slave or whatever. And they're inside essentially like a hotel casino, whatever. And he says that, oh yeah, this guy Vern, he's going to kill all your dudes. But what we're going to do is we're going to trap him. Then we're going to inject him with a whole bunch of drugs and then he'll be ours. And it's like, no. Because he's going to kill every fucking person. Like, first of all, if you get injected with drugs or you're forced to take hard drugs or whatever, it doesn't take hold immediately. It's not like you immediately get cocaine or something in your system and you're just like, yeah, I'll do whatever you say for more cocaine. No, he's going to flail around and murder every fucking one of you.
Cocaine bear, but dragon.
Yeah. It was just a really stupid plot point that seemed really convenient at the time.
Mm-hmm. And just like, how many times did Hook fucking dodge death?
Well, the grenade,
the get out of the boat, the snake bite,
the fire in the hotel, because when Vern smashes through the wall and lights the whole place up.
I would count the Wickman zombie attack as him escaping death.
That
too.
whole scene made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, so Wickman, we didn't talk about Wickman, but Wickman is the only other magical creature that is non-human in this.
I guess before we shift topic, I just want to say really fast, like, I can count 4 really easy. There might be a 5th one that I'm missing, but Hook escaped death too many times, too tenacious. Just kill him off of one of these points and get a new villain, please.
Yeah.
There's potential for so many other villains.
Yeah.
I would have loved an arc for him trying to dodge the FBI and shit.
It was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Super Shredder moment. They finally kill the bad guy, but no, he's not dead. Now he's way more powerful and crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, you can continue with your Wickman stuff. I just wanted to close off my thought before we deviated too far.
Yeah, so Vern is living and hiding in the swamp, and the only lifeline he has to the outside world is this man named Wickman. Wickman is a Mogwai. It is another type of magical creature.
It's basically human dragon hybrid.
Yeah,
a couple of generations removed.
Shapeshifter. He basically they regenerate by burying themselves in the earth for several months or whatever.
Apparently they're part plant.
Yeah. And so at one point, his human form is falling apart because he hasn't rested in a really long time. And so at one point in the book, when Squib is brought under Vern's stewardship or whatever you want to call it, familiarity.
Employment.
Wickman is like, oh, good, I can finally fucking rest. So Wickman gets buried in dragon shit and vegetables, and so that he can regenerate. And at one point, Regent's Hook manages to get Squibb and is about to kill him when Wickman comes up out of the swamp. He hasn't fully regenerated yet, but he senses danger, so he's trying to protect Squibb.
Yeah, I think he's cognizant of everything that's going on around him, because Squibb was like talking to him during his shoveling duties, so I think he was aware of what was going on. It's like, I gotta save the kid.
Yeah, so this whole scene with Wickman is they're describing all these arms coming out of the swamp and giant jaws full of teeth and whatever, and then Regents just kind of like looks at it and goes, huh, and then just murders him. Like, just dissects him, cuts him apart, finds his heart and rips it out and decapitates him and sticks his head on a stick. And it's like, what? Like, what was the fucking point of this?
To get rid of Wickman. Write him out of the story.
To write him out of the story in the laziest way. Like, even given the description in the book, it's like, what the fuck was Wickman going to do then? Because he didn't even really, like, stall anything. It just seems so out of place as a way to just kill off a character that you kind of forgot about. I liked Wickman. I think he got done dirty.
He really did. I was hoping he'd be at the end.
Yeah.
Considering
I remember being very upset when they cut him off, like, ah.
Considering Vern said that Wickman was basically his only friend. Mm-hmm. Like, they did tease and razz each other constantly. Like, even Wickman said that he had things in his little magical bag of tricks that would kill Vern if necessary. But, like, Wickman basically was essentially like a bayou alchemist. He had all these potions and poisons and food items that could kill in horrible fucking ways. And he took a life of, neutrality. He just lives in the swamp as the front for Vern. You know, anytime Vern needs something like new TV guides or beer or vodka or whatever, it goes through Wickman.
What was your favorite part, Dilettante?
Honestly, probably where Squibb saves Vern's life.
When he tries to commit suicide?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Rushes in. He runs in, he shoves his hand down the dragon's gullet and forces him to throw up. He gets his arm covered in, like, fucking stomach acid, and then Vern has to piss all over me. It's all weird, I'll admit, but it's wholesome.
Yeah, so was this after Wickman died permanently, or was this before?
Before.
This was before.
Yeah.
Like, everything was just nice and wholesome, and those two were just getting along and bullshitting where Hook was spying on him. Although I did like the part where fucking Vern was bitching about Game of Thrones.
So that whole section of the book had some of my favorite moments in it. Like, Squibb is a dumbass. I don't like Squibb, but there were a couple moments, some of my favorite moments in the book that were because of Squibb. Like, at one point, he's delivering stuff to Vern, and he pulls out his smartphone. He goes, "Hey, I looked up wyverns on Wikipedia. Read it, get a load of this. Wyverns are dumber and slower and, blah, 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 than dragons. They're not even really dragons and blah, blah, blah." And Vern is like, "The fuck?" Like, just gets super fucking angry, and he's like, "Can you believe this shit? Wyverns are inferior dragons." And he's just like, "I'll fucking kill you." But yeah, that other scene, like, Vern reaches a breaking point where he wants to basically kill himself. And so he basically has a poison edible that Wickman made specifically for him if he ever decided to end it. And he eats the whole thing, and he is drifting. And that's when Squibb wraps his arm in a shirt and rams it down Vern's throat to force him to throw up the cookie. But it was, like, really depressing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he had reached a point where he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm done," and he tries to kill himself. And that's actually the turning point for where Vern actually starts being protective over Squibb, because Squibb saved his life, kind of gave him the, come to Jesus moment, like, stop fucking being super sad, don't kill yourself, there's so much to live for, kind of thing. And he saves Vern's life by stopping his suicide. And Vern is like, "All right, you're all right, kid."
I did like a lot of their back and forth, the Squibb and Vern stuff, during the whole, like, middle section of the book.
Yeah, Squib introducing Vern to Scalies.
Yeah.
I did like that part too. Can you believe how many human women think dragons are sexy? And he's like, ew.
Because apparently Vern's not into humans.
No. I mean, he was thinking about alligators, but he never thought about, human women.
Yeah.
Another part of that I really liked was when Vern was going to rescue Squib, because Regent Hook took Squib prisoner at one point, brought him to the casino in New Orleans, and so Vern had to go rescue him. And one of the parts that I really liked was Vern had basically completely just shed the whole "I'm not going to let anyone see me" thing. He flies to New Orleans, lands on a tower overlooking the city, and he's like, God damn, I must look so cool right now, like goddamn Batman. and then at one point he removes the head off a gargoyle on top of the roof and then puts his own head in that place. It's also where I think it was the first time they really described that he has scales that are capable of changing their pigment to help him blend in. Because I don't recall them ever mentioning that earlier in the book.
I don't know.
It literally comes up at the very end, and then he decides that, you know what, I'm also going to wear a gargoyle disguise with my pigmented skin. That whole ending was just leagues upon leagues of ridiculous.
It was a little bit.
Yeah, he.
The only way I could have accepted the ending is if it ended with him being seen, discovered, video recording, whatever, and so the book would end in the direction of time to integrate with the real world rather than continue to go off and be alone.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole quote unquote actual ending of the super kill squad going after Vern, but I did really like the whole casino scene. So Vern plows through the fucking concrete walls, which at first I was like, that's bullshit. You don't just he's 7 feet tall. And they describe how he just flew full speed into the side of a building and smashed through the concrete.
Well, he's built like a tank.
He's built like a tank, and then it describes how it was actually easier and less painful than crashing through a castle wall. And I'm like, all right.
No. To be fair, castles were built sturdier back then.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, that's, I guess, acceptable. And yeah, then he shows up, and the very first thing said to him is, oh my god, it's a fucking gargoyle. And he's just like, insulted by it. But, yeah, he just goes on a rampage, just killing, indiscriminately. But, as I mentioned before, torturing your main characters, the only reason he went in there is because
I feel like there's too much torture.
Yeah, Squib was described as a child as losing some fingers to, was it dynamiting?
Something like that.
Dynamiting catfish.
Yeah, he was using dynamite to fish.
For catfish. But Regent's Hook, after he captures him, cuts off some of his toes and scatters them around the casino to throw off his scent trail, and then puts Squib in a fucking meat freezer to suffer and die, essentially. But also, being in the freezer, his scent won't travel, so, Vern would wear himself out searching for all the pieces of Squib before finally getting to the point where Regent's Hook can take him down. And instead, Vern was a lot more intelligent than that, thank God. Because when he found the toe and he realized, oh my God, he's trying to bait me into exhausting myself, I was like, please don't do this. But yeah, Squib was basically the torture bunny for Vern's character development.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with, because I hated Squib.
I mean, Squib was basically you, though.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Ray mentioned that, but the mannerisms that Squib had pissed me off so fucking much. Constantly, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, God, blah, 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 my mama. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, the thing is, you were a single-parent household, and you love your mama, and you stole for a living.
No,
it's like,
listen,
no, it's basically you.
I love my mother. I don't love my mama. Okay? I love my mother. I am not...
He was just a southern-flavored you.
Yeah, very southern-flavored, like a whole fucking box of goddamn Old Bay.
But no, the point is Squib gave me you vibes, and so it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so that's probably why I liked so much the interplay between Squib and Vern, because I'm like, yes, it's me and Bantam. Let's go.
No, you said Vern was Dilettante.
Oh, yeah, because of the southern. But it's just like, anytime I read a book, I have to put myself in the dragon's position.
That's true.
regardless of how much of a dilettante it is.
Congratulations, you're now dilettante.
Yeah, Ray did want to know, and maybe you answered it privately. Did you feel anything listening to this book, Dilettante, about like?
Did you feel some kinship towards the Southern Dragon? What did you?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. Like, what do you mean kinship?
Did you read this like, yeah, this could be me?
No. I am like the most unsouthern to ever exist. While growing up, we lived like city people. We had a pool in the backyard. My dad refused to drink Bud Light, and he didn't listen to any country music. We listened to only rock. And I think he drank Heinekens. So he was like a hipster, a fucking southern guy. He did everything the opposite the mainstream rednecks did.
I'm
surrounded by hipsters.
This has no bearing on the plot, but one of the other things that made me chuckle and I kind of appreciated was some of the characters that were not Squib referred to Vern as Flashdance, like as a nickname, kind of like in the Marvel movie,
because he always wore the shirt.
Because he always wore the shirt, and so kind of like in a turn for Vern, he referred to, what was the guy's name? It began with a B. But the guy who
the guy that basically owns most of the town.
Yeah, the one who had the Green Day shirt, and so he just referred to him as Green Day, and it's like everyone refers to you as Flashdance is like a nickname because you wear a Flashdance shirt. He's like, yeah, what up, Green Day, and it's like, yeah, I like that. I don't know why.
Green Day was the best character.
he gets shot with a shotgun and he takes like a serious wound. And he spends most of the final fight laying on the ground, issuing orders and groaning, going, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And Vern's like, you're not going to die. Calm the fuck down. And he's like, okay. And then later on in the fight, oh, God, I'm dying. I'm bleeding. He's like, you're fine. He literally got shot before the final battle took place. And he spent the rest of the fight laying on the ground bleeding and giving orders and helping and stuff. And then going, oh, God, this is it for me. But he survives.
It's a very dramatic dire.
Yeah, very, very dramatic. The part where the book lost the plot for me, as Dilettante mentioned, was the super kill squad of ex-military super soldiers or whatever, and they were all like really comically racist. The big burly chick was like ex-Russian military, so of course she's got to be the big brawler who prefers to get in close with metal gloves and beat the shit out of Vern. And then they had
we got to have a melee build.
Yeah, and then they had the Chinese sniper who constantly mixed up between Chinese and Japanese euphemisms and had she could fucking hit the jack of spades from a moving vehicle from blah, blah, blah. And it's like the best sharpshooter I've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she calls Vern a kaiju.
Yeah, she says, take this, you fucking... No, she calls him Gojira. She's like, take this, you fucking Gojira. And then Regent's Hook is like, I don't even know if I want to unpack the fact that you used a Japanese term and you're Chinese. And it's like, okay, we get it. They're all racist. Like, racist characters. Fuck you. Fucking dumb. So let's talk about the bad guy's death.
How we got to the fucking death with Vern pissing on everybody.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know about you two, but the entire book, I was contemplating how I would be satisfied with Regent's Hook's death. Like, throughout the entire book, because, like, at one point, Regent's Hook...
Don't worry, in the second book, he's going to come back as a half cyborg or something.
Yeah.
They just have to keep bringing Hook back.
Yeah. Just like Avatar. Just like, but like I said, there were plenty of times where Regent's Hook should have died. It would have felt better, but he didn't. And so the ultimate final way he does die, were you satisfied?
No, because by the time he died, it was like this was like the third time he should have died. So it was more like a finally, thank God.
Yeah,
it wasn't satisfying because of how long it took and how much damage he caused before then.
Yeah. So the way he finally does die. Dilettante, you want to tell him?
This is some like Larry the Cable Guy level of comedic bullshit of what he does. Vern pisses on all of his friends while he's getting the shit beat out of him by Regents. to mark his territory, and then the alligator he suplexed in the beginning of the game leads this alligator kill squad, and then watches him get like mauled to death while Regis is just like laughing about it because he's fucking lost it at this point. And I'm just like, I'm thinking here, I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, I could, with how this book is set up with Southern humor, it's exactly how I would imagine it would have gone down.
So the whole thing, like, the whole ending was absolutely silly. You know, like, as he said, Vern was peeing on everyone to mark them as targets, and then summoned his alligator army. And the alligator army comes in and they tear Regent's Hook apart. And the entire time that it's happening, like from the moment that one of the gators latches onto his ankle, he's like, I ain't dying here. I ain't dying. I'm Regent's fucking Hook. I ain't dying here. And then, you know, he's stabbing and slashing at things and he's like, I'm going to survive because that's what I do. I'm a survivor. And then one of them gets his arm and rips his arm completely off. And then his attitude immediately, his internal dialogue is like, well, this is it for me. It's like, okay. And yeah, they bite a basketball-sized hole in his stomach and all his guts spill out. And then he opens his mouth just as a gator bites on his lower jaw and collapses his entire skull. Or his upper jaw, whatever, and just pops his head like a grape. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of with Vern on this, because even Vern after is like, normally I'd feel relieved and happy to see this happening, but I just have felt nothing. And it's like, yeah, because you should have been dead like 20 chapters ago.
Yeah.
Well, dead the first chapter.
He should have been dead. The fucking snake bite would have been a good point for me, honestly. But realistically, because snake bites are pretty early, it's like, I don't know. He should have died in the casino.
He should have died in the casino. He survived the casino, so at one point Vern bathes the entire room in fire, which this fire is basically like an acetylene torch. It can cut holes in the wall. Like, cut holes. And Regent's Hook is in the corner of the room when Vern finally crashes into the room, and Vern sees him, and Regent's Hook's like, ah, shit. And then Vern just bathes the whole room in fire, and he's like, there's no way Regent's Hook survived that. But then, of course, he did, because he immediately jumped into, like, the meat locker or whatever with a fireproof door. And it's like,
no, it was the panic room with all the guns.
With all the guns, right? Yeah. He's like, oh, it's a good thing this panic room was here, and all these
lucky us,
all these guns and a rocket launcher from, you know, fucking the Cold War,
a Russian grade anti-air missile launcher.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah. It's like, I was upset with the death of Wickman, but I could see it being necessary so that Squib can inherit the stuff that was put in the will. Like, I hate it, but I get it. And then the whole debacle with the kidnapping of Squib and the rescue mission, all that's like, that would have been a great climax. Like, fucking end the book there, right? Save Squib, Regents is dead, end the book. Like, that would have been great. Or at the very least, Regents is gone. Like, that should have been where he died, but like, no, he's got to come back and cause more trouble. And so by the time he finally dies, like, it was just a thank God.
Yeah. And the thing is you kind of, for people who read books a lot, or you know, character-coded deaths, when Wickman is being buried to take his 3-month nap, and he's like, I wrote a note there so that you'll inherit everything if I never come back. He goes, but I am coming back. And I'm like,
then why do you write that? I understand you
he did it for
story. You have a will just in case, yeah, but like, it's also like, it was the Chekhov's guns. Like, you mentioned the will, therefore you're not coming back.
Well, he mentioned it because he's like, I'm going to be gone for 3 months, and people know that I'm here. Like, lots of people deliver to him. And so everybody kind of knows about the crazy guy who lives in the swamp, Wickman. They don't know that he's a magical creature. They just know that he's a crazy old bastard.
Yeah, I think he wrote it off as he was on a business trip somewhere.
He wrote it as he was on a business trip, and he'd be gone for 3 months. And if he doesn't come back, then everything in the shack and the shack itself belongs to Squib. And he wrote that, I think, in case anybody came by and was like, where the hell's Wickman? What did you do to him? And, you know, he's got this note.
Yeah, definitely. But I think also part of it was just like, I think Wickman was like thinking, what if I just don't wake up? Like, he gets to decide just to not wake up.
Yeah, they did mention that sometimes Mogwai just choose to stay in the earth. Like, that it's
they're just done.
I'm just done. It's like it's not really suicide, because I think he mentions that they can just choose to come back at any point, but some of them just sleep in there for centuries.
Yeah, they get so comfortable they refuse to get up. It's like bed grabbing.
Yeah.
What me and Bantam call it.
Yeah.
Dilettante mood.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not want to get up this morning. Fucking Ray trying to drag me out of bed. You know what? I can understand his point of view.
I told you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, Dilettante. I took it down because I'm going to redo it later. But one of the things I used to love doing as a kid is tacking a blanket to my ceiling and having it draped down around my bed like a little cubby, and it keeps it nice and dark. And I had it up for like a week, but I took it down because I have to tear my bed apart and wash the sheets and stuff. But yeah, it's like when I'm in there and it's all dark and
you don't want to get out.
I don't want to get out, especially because I have the window open, so it's nice and chilly. And I have.
Am I the only one with the proper wake up time or something?
You're the only.
You're unnatural. Sir.
First of all,
Just
you don't
wake up, stretch in bed, and like, what a good day. Time to get up and do stuff.
So
yeah, see, that's unnatural.
I know that I'm digging my own grave with this, but you're also not addicted to caffeine, and so you have a more.
I produce the natural wake up chemical.
The natural wake up chemical, whereas mine has been destroyed years ago, but.
Because your body's like, we get it from outside now? Okay, I'm not going to worry about making this anymore.
Yeah. And, that's part of my reasons that I have trouble sleeping or waking up.
Both.
But yeah. So I can understand, being comfortable and sleeping and just going, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to stay in bed for the next 30 years.
I mean, I'll admit there are times where I'm like, if I was a dragon, I could actually hibernate. Like, you hear about dragons sleep for thousands of years. I'd never do 1,000 years. That's way too fucking much. But like, dude, Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't come out until like July. What if I just sleep for 3 months?
But then you'll miss System Shock Remake.
He doesn't care about System Shock Remake.
We're going to make him care about System Shock Remake.
No, impossible. You never will. It's a shooter. I'm never.
It's a cyber sci-fi shooter. You're never gonna get him to love it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to mod a cyber dragon into it.
He doesn't care about cyber dragons.
I like Cyber Dragons. I just don't know if it's enough to redeem the shooter quality of it. But anyway, so I guess, is there anything else that we want to tackle before I go to the next bullet point?
What was your guys' favorite scene that made you laugh the most?
I mean, I asked you both that already.
Okay. I can't remember.
Is when your ears are smoking. It's like, Dylan, what's your favorite scene?
Yeah, my favorite scene was definitely Vern reading off the Wikipedia entry of wyverns to Vern.
I liked when Vern, when his existence is, I don't know how to word this, when he basically comes out to the mom and Green Day, because I can't remember his name either. Wasn't really his choice. He was unconscious, but like I just, and like the thing that I like most about the dragons living in secret trope is when they eventually become not secret. Like I love seeing that clash or whatever. Yeah,
the way Green Day and his mom treated Vern after, because Vern was even shocked. He's like, normally you guys were a little more freaked out and like whatever, and she's like, no, you done right by my boy. You're good in my book. And he's just like, all right. And the fact that she, covered him in oils and fat and whatever and grease, and then was feeding him oil from a sippy cup. That was another thing. It's another thing that's unique that I've never seen done in anything else. Dragons have an internal reservoir of oil that they need to activate their fire, and it basically burns their fat if they're out of it. And so the way to recuperate him is to cover him in oils and grease and butter or whatever, basically fatty shit, and then also feed him vegetable oil and crude fat. And so he's laying in a tub, being nursed back to health by just giving him a sippy cup full of oil.
Yeah, Age of Fire kind of did that, not to like you literally will be drinking oil, but like if the dragon breathes too much fire, they can replenish it faster by eating fatty foods.
Yeah.
So I guess we move on to the next bullet point, which is where I just want to ask you guys, if you were to write this or a version of this, whatever, what would you do different to make it like the perfect story for you?
Go ahead, Dilettante. You go first.
I don't know if he wants to.
Well, because if I go first, he's going to be like, "Oh God, he took what I was going to say."
He does like to weasel out with that.
No, okay, first of all, fuck that. I can't really think of anything I want to change other than just like editing Hook to be a little
less crazy.
No, you know what I do? I will appreciate Hook for his over the top backstory of his pastor beating him during Hurricane Katrina.
His pastor father.
Yeah, his pastor father, who thought of him as evil in the eyes of the Lord, so beat the crap out of him, and then somehow he tried to kill his dad during Hurricane Katrina, but he survived. So he thought of that as a will of God. Kept it. I don't remember much of his backstory, but all I remember is it was comically over the top, and I did like that.
It definitely was a villain backstory.
As far as what I change,
I mean, if it was perfect for you and you don't want to change anything, that's valid.
I would actually want to extend. This is the first I've ever wanted to extend anything on a book. I want you to keep that in mind. This is the first in podcast history. I want to give more time of Squib and Vern pre-murder of
Wickman.
Wickman?
Yeah.
I wanted more of that because that was funny as fuck.
Finally understands what I say. I'm like, I wish this book was longer.
No, I wish that scene was longer. I don't wish books to be longer. Extend that scene and then remove the A-Team bullshit. 10 out of 10 book.
Yeah.
And then, actually, you know what? Yeah. Extend that scene, remove the A-Team bullshit, have him die in the casino, bing, bang, boom, you're done. And then you could just have the whole, I need to move away after the casino, because now he's pasted all over the fucking internet. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, he's got to move now anyway. So you could still have the end resolve right then and there. Well, pissing on everybody. There you go. That's mine.
All right, Bantam.
What I would change is Vern would not have the Southern accent. He would have a British accent because he was from there and he spent most of his time there. As Ray said, you don't just live in the South for a couple 100 years of your...
Maybe the Southern accent is the dragon accent and the Southerns just inherited it.
The fact that Vern knew who Jesus was...
he's a terrible carpenter.
That he's a terrible carpenter means he's old enough to not have developed a Southern accent for the amount.
Well, he also says he cooked some of the bricks for the road to Damascus. Himself.
It's
so it's this guy's 6,000 years old.
Yeah, it's so you wouldn't develop a full Southern accent
in 50 years.
50 years. So his accent would have to change. And on top of that, the whole final showdown with Regent's Hook, I would get rid of the A-Team, and I would have it be a much more guerrilla tactics, pitched battle, with Vern and Squib versus Regent's Hook, who is fully prepared and laid traps.
Just make it reverse Predator. The A-Team is trying to hunt down
Regents,
the good guys. No. Regents and his A-Team are hunting down Vern and the other people, guerrilla warfare style. But then Vern's just going around just picking them off one by one.
Yeah, that would be way better than
that. Would have been more satisfying
because from the way it read to me, Vern was just standing in front of a house in the front yard on the shore of the swamp, just getting the shit kicked out of him for the entire fucking final battle. While random other things happened.
To the point where, honestly, the Gators were very Deus Ex, right?
Yeah, they were. They were. Because he, when Regent's Hook reached his final form and, he's standing over Vern, I win. I'm going to fucking kill you. And then it's oh yeah, Flight of the Valkyries. So I would change his accent. And then feel free to cut this part, Ray. I would have Vern falling in love with Squib.
Honestly, I would have actually put Vern with Squib's mom.
I'm gonna be your new daddy. Yeah, I mean so
you don't know right by my boy. It's there we go. This is the seed.
Yep. The fact that the entire motivation for why Regent's Hook hated Squib was because Regent's Hook really loved his mom and really wanted her, and she wanted nothing to do with him. And then they kind of, they kind of implied that Green Day would get with his mom. But yeah, it would be better if Vern got with his mom. It's let's try it out and see what humans are like. That would be, but that's because I'm a horny fucking piece of shit. So
yeah, me too though.
So honestly, the accent and the final battle get changed. That would be better.
I have the order of events mixed up in my brain. Did the recovering in the bathtub where he where his existence becomes known to the mom and the other guy. Was that before or after the Squib rescue operation?
After.
That was after? Okay. Yeah,
because he had to get injured to go get into that bathtub to recuperate.
Yeah, disclaimer, I read the book a couple months ago and I decided to not reread it. I re-listened to the first few chapters to get the writing style and the narration fresh in my head, but like because the order of events are mixed up in my head as well.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to do the first and last chapters if you're going to do that. That's the rules.
What I would do different is I would have killed off Regents much sooner. I would have wanted him to die somewhere between Snakebite and Wickman, because I admit Snakebite is a bit too early, but then again I admit that Wickman had to go. At the very latest, he dies in the hotel, right? So we never get the whole A-team scene because that was dumb as fuck. But we'd kill him off, then we would get a new villain for the later part, whether it becomes FBI or it becomes Ivory or whatever. But I would have spent more time on Vern interacting with Squib's mom and with Green Day and maybe a few other people, and just slowly expanded the story into a how is the world going to react to the fact that Vern still exists, right? One of my favorite scenes from Lazy Skills was actually the scene where Lewis is being not interrogated, experimented on by the scientists. I don't know why, just because that's a natural reaction to how the world would react to dragons suddenly existing. And so I would have wanted some more stuff like that. Not necessarily he gets taken by scientists, but just more of how the world reacts to the fact that dragons exist, even if he's the only one. And the fact that he becomes like internet sensation probably would help other dragons come out and find him, and then we get to continue the species or whatever.
Yeah.
That being said, what I would do for sequels with the way it ended, like if I didn't get to change anything, I want to follow Vern along on his adventures around the world, and we find a dragon living in Brazil, we find a dragon living in Ireland, we find a dragon living in Japan, like whatever, right? Like, it's a whole... If you guys remember the gargoyles, Disney's gargoyles, at one point Goliath starts fighting other gargoyle tribes around the world. Just have like that, but dragons.
It would be good because you could mix up the because you wrote a book that was very, very Southern, and it's like now because
now let's be racist everywhere else.
But you can do it in a positive way, because one of the things that's the most common about Japan is I imagine that any fantasy creature that goes to Japan, people would just want to pose with it and take pictures and be like, "Oh my God, can I shake your hand?" I feel like in real life, and I mean, yeah, people are going to be scared everywhere, but I feel like if you're a dragon, and you had to go somewhere where you knew people were going to see you, Japan would be your best bet, because people would either think that you're a really good costume designer, or that they're the only people I think on this fucking planet where if they saw a dragon, they'd be like, yes, they are real. Oh my God, I love dragons, and want to be like taking pictures with you and create a shrine to you and treat you with respect. I feel like any other country would either immediately go to try to kill you, or just be like, oh, what the fuck is that? I think he'd be safest in Japan. So if he's going to Japan to go find a dragon there, I feel like it would be him trying to court a loner, isolated, introverted Eastern dragon while dodging the paparazzi and the crowds of people that are like...
I mean, it could be fun. It's like, I'm going to call them dragon coming out stories. I like dragon coming out stories. Like, oh, it turns out this dragon lived in this place the whole time, and this is how it's happening or whatever. You make the dragon... Make a Mexican dragon who's basically a Quetzalcoatl, and he runs the fucking cartel.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. I will say that there is one thing about this book that I thought was insanely clever, and I really appreciated. And that was the fact that with Vern talking about how detrimental technology is to hiding, and the fact that he one time was caught on a blurry camera, like flying over the city by a janitor, but everyone just dismissed it as a hoax or whatever. The thing that I thought was really clever is like, well, surely he would have seen footage of other people. If everybody's got cell phones now, surely he would have heard something about dragons, right? So I can imagine that he would go to YouTube and search dragon sighting or something like that. But later on, when Squib is like, yeah, it turns out everybody thinks you're a gargoyle, so I just searched gargoyle sightings and look at all these dragons. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Bravo. Fucking people are just like, oh, fuck, it's a gargoyle. You know, and it's like, now he has leads to follow up on. Whereas, yeah, I could imagine a depressed dragon just searching YouTube for dragon sightings, sorting by newest upload and going, nope, nothing. And then going back to whatever you were doing. Whereas if you just expand your search to, you know, flying creature or gargoyle, and then all of a sudden there's credible things that he can go check out. And I was like, all right, that's...
You gotta search the other cryptids. It turns out the Mexican dragon isn't Quetzalcoatl, it's the fucking chupacabra.
Well, the chupacabra didn't have wings. It was basically a hyena, chihuahua, goat monster.
Right, but like, maybe that's what it looks like. I don't know. But the point is, you gotta search through the other cryptids. You can't search dragon.
Yeah. But I thought that was really clever because it was like, yeah, if the technology is as bad as you say and you can't even be seen by anybody, then surely dragons that do exist, like it led me to believe, oh god, maybe he is actually the last one, because surely other ones would have been caught on video.
He's the last one until the author needs it to be more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I already kind of went into this a little bit with like, I would like them to go on an adventure, just like dragon here, dragon there, dragon there. But like, if there was a sequel, if the author wrote a sequel, which I don't think there were plans even originally, because it's not tagged as book 1 of whatever on Goodreads or anything. But maybe he'll write more now because of the TV series deal. Or maybe the TV series itself will go past the book. So what would you like to see in the future if there was going to be more? Again, I already went on to this. I want to see other dragons from other cultures and how they've been hiding and getting along. And eventually they come out and how the world accepts them. The Korean dragon becomes the K-pop star.
Yeah. I personally would, no, Dilettante first.
I'm trying to think, like, my guess is that they're going to go for, like, urban legends.
Not the guess. What would you want? Like, if you wrote the sequel to this, what would you want?
Like, you can't change the first book, but if you got to come on and be a writer for the sequel or the TV show or whatever.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Okay. Bantam, interrupting Dilettante. How could you?
Yeah, I know, right?
That you jumped right in with me. God.
Bantam, how could you? For shame.
Both of you. No, and actually, instead of going out of the country, I wanted them to stay in America just for a little bit and go meet, like, the fucking Bigfoot. I'm trying to figure out how the fuck to phrase this, because I'm thinking of, like, I want to see, like, all the stereotypes as dragons. Like, you get your Reddit incel neckbeard hiding in the basement. That's the only one I can think of at the moment.
Thing is I remember...
What, like, dragons are all just lurkers online?
Yeah, why not?
Draco Smog?
Oh, yeah. I mean, oh, my God. Thank God for bringing that up. Dilettante, what was your reaction to that line?
That only brought up Lord of the Rings pissed me off.
No, that he used to lurk on social media, and his username was Draco Smog, and because he thought that was cool, and then he canceled that. He deleted the username because he had fucking nerds constantly coming after him, like talking lore about the movies, and it was pissing him off, so he deleted the username.
Basically, with how much you love both Draco and Smog, Bantam wanted to know if you chuckled.
I got a little chuckle out of it, but it wasn't like gut busting.
For me, it was fresh after Ray had mentioned that you were Vern. And then hearing Vern say, and I made a screen name Draco Smog, and I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Bantam, what were your hopes for the future, if there's more?
My hope for the future is that they spend some time fixing up, like the book would start with them giving Wickman a proper burial /
I mean, he was already underground.
Yeah, but like a proper one, and they would basically fix up the swamp. Vern would be treating the alligators nicer. And they would basically very, very slowly integrate most of the town into understanding what Vern is, and, that he would basically protect the place. And then at that point, the antagonist...
It's Constable Vern to you.
The antagonist for the second book would be another dragon that is trying to escape wherever, and they have like a territorial fight for most of the book, but then they end up like getting along, and turns out it's a female dragon or something. I don't know.
And then Jello Squib comes out of nowhere and start having a bromance fight.
They're both fighting over Squib. Squib's out doing his runs, and he just gets picked up by a dragon, and the dragon's like, you're mine now. And he's like, that's a problem. And yeah, he ends up being a hostage for this dragon, and Vern has to go get him or something. I don't know. Keep it local.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out when they heard they were going out of the country. I was hoping they'd stay and like build something in the bayou.
Why would you stay in the bayou if you have the whole world to explore?
Because life is nice in the bayou. I could point out like 15 country songs about how great the bayou is.
You two, if you were a dragon hiding amongst people, what would your quote very clever screen name be?
I don't know. I had a lot of really edgy, stupid screen names back from my AOL days, and then some that were just fun. Like the oldest one I can remember was I really liked the way you could, like the headlights on the front grille of a Jeep Wrangler. And so my screen name was capital O and then 4 capital I's and then capital O and then Go Jeep. I don't know why I didn't even like Jeeps. I just liked the fact that you could make the front grille with letters. And then after that, it was Deathwing Ultima, because I was really into the Deathwing novel, which is the Warhammer 40k collection of short stories. And I used to draw the little wing design of their crest all the time. So, yeah, I'd probably just go back to Deathwing or Deathwing Ultima.
I would be Draco Smog, because all I did when I was a kid was steal usernames. I'm not even joking. I stole my brother's friend's.
You both know Dragonheart better than me. Did Draco have a last name at all?
No.
Okay, because that was just a nickname because he couldn't pronounce his real name because dragon language.
Correct.
Right, all right. In that case, mine, I would probably just literally just be Smaug. Maybe Smaug - King Under the Mountain or something like that. Because I tend to try to impersonate people online, like previously established characters. Like on Steam, my username on Steam is Carl the Python. Like I like just impersonating previously established characters. It's just kind of fun from a roleplay standpoint. I don't know, getting into a character's head as an author standpoint. It's fun. So I would literally just be Smaug. If Draco had a last name, then I would have his first name, last name be my username. But that's just what I would do, or whatever the at the time most popular dragon character was.
Well, now thanks to the D&D movie, you're going to be an obese red dragon. Yeah. Have fun with that.
Like at the height of Warcraft's popularity, when Cataclysm came out, my screen name may have been Neltharion, but who knows? Whatever. Anyway, final thoughts before we close.
Ray's screen name is Sibelian with the number 4 and then EVA. Sibelian forever.
I guess no final thoughts. All right, so thank you for joining us then, everybody, as we dive into this book, and as always, tangential all over the place.
It's what we do.
Yep.
It's why you listen to us.
Apparently. I'm flabbergasted, but apparently it's enjoyable.
Yeah, that's what people do.
If you would like to get in contact with us to give us your thoughts and opinions on the book, to suggest anything, or just tell us what you think of us personally, Bantam's got the information.
Bam! Right here. So, you can reach us on Twitter, @officialwadpod. We have an email. You can email the show at wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/World of Dragons podcast. And we do have a Discord that will be linked in the show notes.
Yeah, I looked into it. Apparently, you're only allowed to make a custom Discord link if you get to the final level of server boosting.
How much is that going to cost?
So come on, people, get to the. We are at level 2
of
3.
3.
We would need 7 more boosts.
Oh, that's not that bad, because that's like what, $5? I'll fucking boost it. How do you fucking?
No, it's fine. No. We're not going to do it ourselves. The point is, people, come to the Discord, help us. Yeah.
Or join the audience for $5 a month on Patreon. I forgot to show that.
And then you get to listen to all this unedited and unabridged, and a lot of stuff that we said embarrasses ourselves that gets cut out in the final release.
Yeah, we need 7. We need 7 more boosts. It looks like.
Yeah, Discord Nitro gives you 2 boosts, so that's 3.5 people. Whatever. Anyway, so that's our contact information. Please come let us know. I love getting feedback. Next episode is going to be the other book that tied with this one on our Discord voting. So yeah, come run Discord. You can vote on future stuff. But that means it's going to be Bound in Scale, but I forget who the author is. Let me look up real fast. Bound in Scale by Stephen DeLuca.
Okay, that's
wow.
Pretty cool. When you upgrade to Nitro, like this little 3D flying pig thing and power armor flies across your screen and goes.
Did you just stop preaching
Yeah,
Nitro?
I did.
All right, we need 2.5 more people now. Anyway, yes. Next episode, Bound and Scale by Stephen DeLuca. I will be reading this blind. I haven't scouted this out because this was suggested by people on our Discord, and then I put up a vote, and it won. So I have no guarantees on how dragony it is and how good it is. I can't give any trigger or content warnings, so we'll see what happens. But until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Thanks for listening to 2.5 Tangents.
Oh, hold on, real fast. That's great. Yes, I'm just gonna copy paste this to the end of the social media point. A special thank you to our VIP patrons, Kazan and Comrade.
And another special thank you to Treesenix for always being there for us.
He's our solo cheerleader in the audience most times.
We do record at stupid hours, but it's
because it's the only time the three of us can get together.
Yeah. But yeah, like, thank you, Treesenix, for always being there for us.
Yeah, so if you join the audience stand, you can listen in live, and we will interact with you a little bit. But also, if you can't make the time, which usually happens because we recorded weird hours, I do post the unedited files in the Discord.
I do want to get a picture at some point of the three of us sitting around a table, microphones, recording the podcast, right? And then, but Treesenix is there, just slapping stickers on fucking everything.
Or holding cue cards in the background or something.
Yeah. All right.
We'll have to draw him as a little kobold.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, yes. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.